him. And I'm like, man, this nigga here, they better take advantage of that. I was thinking, this boy is showing them. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm like, he's showing them what I've already slipped and caught upon, but he has some things that I don't have, but we're on that same level. Like we was asking, like he was asking him, like the phone. Hello.
I'm here.
Yeah, like he was asking your kingdom concept and speak on, like, you know what I'm saying, like even not like speak about like what's been going on, like with the whole situation. I know it's one that's on there. I don't want to slip and be out check. I think it was a white dude. He was talking about the bankruptcy of 33 or whatever, all that stuff, man. There's so much stuff. It's like y'all got a lot of bits and pieces, but I got a lot going back to basically the 1700s, a lot of when some of the deaths actually began, and I kept on going forward. And then,
excuse me.
Also, hello.
We go way back. We go back further than 1700 because that ain't where it started at.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So see, that's what I was saying. Cause see, that's why we get to the because I was like, I'm like, how did this thing really begin as far as America? And I know, I came from what was called the Treaty of Paris, and I kind of began from there coming forward. Cause like I say, I'm doing mine by myself. So you know what I'm saying? One, you don't sit and do so much, but I've gotten a lot like the last 4 years. I've even had cases shut down by just submitting certain documents into the case.
Right.
And then there's even a process where you can sit up there and have a certain document filed with Washington, D.C. and locally, and you can have the laws for putting the code. But you got to have certain documents already properly done, and you got to get them recorded outside. And you can get them recorded with the UCC, or you can record, I believe, without the UCC. As long as you have the proper notary, you can have that information forwarded into the sheriff, to the local sheriff. And by law, under specific laws, you can have the laws so that they stop pulling your code.
Right.
So I got there because I did that process about 6 months ago, and I had that confirmed by 3 laws. So you know what I'm saying? And when I ride, all I do is give my ID. They check my ID, but just to point out, I don't even put my card in anymore. Because the stuff that I've learned on a different level as far as what that document is, what is properly documented, and what is signed up by Washington, it becomes so many different things just besides the letter of credit. Because what happens is it also evidences it becomes a contract.
Right.
So when they sit up there and basically sit up there and sign for that contract, you can make that contract a matter of public record. And so when you do get a court case against you, that's typically a breach of contract if they don't honor your rights that's secured under the Constitution. And it's a good idea for anybody that's in your group, everyone, whatever state they're in, they should get a certified copy of their state's constitution because that document is also a contract. And when they get a copy of that document, they need to get an affidavit of acceptance of those general obligations and have that document stapled to a certified copy of that documentation. And what happens is you become a party to the Constitution. And see, a lot of people don't realize they get into their accounts, but they have not secured their rights. Right. So they're still vulnerable to a certain degree. So they sit up there and should understand what this happened, that blah, 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 syndicated. They can come in and try to enforce their rights in the Constitution on a level where, like I said, you can have where the laws can sit up there and pull you over. And it's not only that, you can sit up there and have your kids put on a specific list. I mean, not only your kids, but your kids, your property. You can have all that put up on an affidavit, signed up by the notary with the proper witnesses, and have that forwarded to certain departments. And that's you can sit up there and block CPS. You can have your private weapon in your vehicle. You can sit up there and protect, like you have your wife. I mean, you can do so much stuff. So they got to sit up there and know what it means to have that document properly documented, and then to have that document sent to certain people, like you say, in the private. Because what they're learning is we have to begin to work in the private, and that's what you begin to realize, and that's what I begin to realize too. There's a public and a private against this whole situation. And what you're realizing is when you operate in the private, but I'm also realizing you get more results.
Right.
So that's like I said. So that's why I just been watching the videos from the shadows, and that's why I said I did the PayPal thing. I'm like I never got any kind of info back. I said, I'm moving a big deal. I said, because I still was just, I'm trying to catch, I'm already doing my own homework. My thing is what I'm coming up with, match what they coming up with. I'm like, you know, something, we don't understand, you know, something, he's found out something different. Let me sit back and see what he's getting at, and let me go see if I can read up and figure out what they do. Because I'm the kind of cat, I really don't look for no handout. I get my butt up and I go read, because I rather read and do anything else. That's why I miss a lot of y'all shows, because I be on live with 3 or 4 pay, on live with like 4 or 5 screens up. You know what I'm saying? Top at the top. What's your motto? Banging on the beat. I be on it.
Right. Banging on the beats. Info seekers in the building, y'all.
Banging on the beats.
I'm from Kansas.
I'm out here in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah. I'm in Texas right now. That would be calling from the 832 number. Yeah, but, you know, now, yeah, that was me hitting you up. I've been watching that. But in fact, I started out watching your boy, what was that, Midwest County. I began watching him. You know what I'm saying?
That's Cali. Moneyboy Cali.
That's the redskin dude. That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have been watching. I've been watching, like I said, a lot of cats. Like I said, I was just saying, you know what I'm saying? What what do they have, or what are they doing different than me, and what are their results? So like I say, I have my own little process that I learned, and I've been getting results as far as they was, like I say, get the laws stuff. I've been learning more about how these courts work, how everything is a corporation. Matter of fact, through every constitution, those are contracts where the states are the contract with the federal government, and that's where the Constitution becomes superior to any state law. And that's why it's good to sit up there and have that particular piece of firepower in your back pocket, because the Constitution will always trump anything that's commerce if they properly use that, if they sit up and properly exercise and document their proper knowledge. And then while you bring them into that tax code, the way you do it, actually what you're doing is teaching how to think into that tax code. And that's why I've been watching, like, you know, this dude's a real, you know what I'm saying, he's a real good leader, because he's leading by example, and he's showing them results. That's very rare. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't find it, because you got some people that get results, but they don't have to teach up there and teach. You got some boys that are teach, but they ain't no results. You feel me?
Right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, so you know. Yeah, I'm gonna get you over there to the table, and we're gonna talk some more or whatever.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, I want you to say what's up to the family though. They listening to you.
Oh, that's hey, what's going down?
What's up with you? What's up with you, family? It's good to have more and more people on the same page.
Yeah, this is kind of chat with child support.
Yeah.
That certificate of law birth when it's authenticated. Man, I know cats that was in jail, my nigga. This is real talk. I know cats that was in jail, and once they got the certificate of law birth properly authenticated, you can submit this. Once it's authenticated, it can only be used in the United States. You know, it's a company under federal code. It's a company. It can only be used in a court of law, and it's used to up there to identify you on a certain level. That's where in that courtroom, when that judge sees that, their hands is tied, because under 28 USC, I think it's 453, and if you look under your local state code, every judge has to take an oath. And that oath says that they must uphold the U.S. code and the U.S. Constitution above everything else. Point, period, blank, even above their state law. So when you get that certificate of law birth authenticated, you get what's called full faith and credit. Go back to Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution. Right. That's where you get your first piece of firepower, because it says what? It says full faith and credit will be given to what? To all the public records, tax, and all the proceedings of any court, any legislation. So you know what that means? That means whatever law is in Wisconsin, that same law must be honored in Texas, California, Dallas. You know why? Because they're under a uniform contract. That's where the UCC comes in.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So you see, my nigga, I'm on it. So see, this how I watch them up in court. They are under federal obligation. With what authority, after I receive full faith and credit, can you come in and violate this contract? You would be in breach of Constitution. You know what I'm saying? They can't do that. You can lock them courts down. So see, what your family start doing, set that foundation of protection, get that birth certificate authenticated, get a copy of your state constitution, and you must step in and look under what's called their general obligations, and under their obligations, they must protect your private rights, because what you're doing, Midwest, is you're bringing them into the private sector. You take what you're teaching them about that private sector, with that birth certificate properly authenticated. Now you're fortifying your defense mechanism, because now you're using their own tactics against them. They cannot, a house divided cannot stand. Yeah. So they can't go against their own laws, their own codes, or their own regulations. They can't, because it becomes treason against the United States. Yeah. It's like the act of terrorism. So see, in that courtroom, I'll bang them up.
Got you.
You feel me?
Okay.
You on point with that one. He is not playing.
So what you want to do?
All right. So do you does anybody know how to get this certificate of live birth authenticated, or is there anybody that already has that process done? If not, I can tell y'all how to get that done.
Okay.
I have mine already.
I got a couple people that do, and a couple people that don't. But this not. This not. You know, right now wouldn't be the time for that.
All right. So you know what? You got my number. You can just hit me up, and we can just sit up there and chit chat. Like I say, because this is kind of spontaneous. But you know what I'm saying? Now that we got numbers or whatever, we can sit back and we can talk, and we can sit up there, like I said, compare notes or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, just put something together. Like I say, I don't mind sharing what I had, but like I said, like y'all say, it's a team effort. Everybody sit there and put everything together. It's like the picture starting to come together, because what I learned from the Treasury, and I got the email, the certificate of live birth is evidence of a savings bond. It's linked to Treasury securities, because I learned how to look up the bond, how to look up the bond of fidelity, and how to get the execution number and see the dollar amounts linked to it. So see, I'm already inside looking to see what what happens is they trade or they option securities off. And then what happens is the proceeds are set up there and put into your accounts. So when you sit up and start doing your homework, the Treasury is over Social Security, because Social Security, that's where the trust fund was created, and it's written to the IRS code. I got that information.
Okay.
It's really what they call a decedent estate or decedent trust.
Right.
So that's where it comes in, and that's where the SSN comes in. And see, what people don't even realize, I'm on a level now where I'm creating me a separate, a private trust.
So what number bond is you talking about?
Huh?
What number bond is you talking about?
You said what number who?
Bond. I know you said about the trust and all this, and the certificate of live birth authenticated. So what's that? Yeah. So when I do all that, what's that's gonna do for me?
Okay. When you get the certificate of live birth authenticated, that's going to be done under Minnesota Rule 220. And when you look that up, that is a core ruling that talks about the birth certificate, because it's also a certificate of title.
Okay.
That's the birth certificate of live birth is a certified copy of the master file to the trust, or the original mortgage deed, like the woman was saying. It's a copy of the original deed of mortgage or deed of trust.
Right.
So when you get that certificate of live birth authenticated under, I got my copy here, because it's going to tell you on the front of that document. It's a federal rule on the front of that document. It's going to tell you that under the rule of civil procedure, it becomes the equivalent of the original. Hold on, give me 1 second. If I'm not mistaken, it's either going to be 8 U.S.C. 1443F, or it's either Rule 44 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure that tells you when you get a certified copy of the document authenticated by the appropriate officers, it's the equivalent of the original. So when you get the certificate of law authenticated, it's the equivalent of having the master file in your hand.
Okay.
And when you get that master file in your hand, that's when you want to come in and you want to record it, because when you record it, recording is actually a private act. Because what happens is when the Secretary of State puts that seal on that document, remember, the Secretary of State also is a notary public.
Right.
And whatever a notary public does is a public act. So when they put that seal on there to give you credit, that becomes a public act, and that is a public record. So that means it's already recorded in Washington. And remember that that's hand signed. In law, anything that's hand signed trumps anything typed any day of the week. Because the hand, you know what I'm saying? Because the hand is the extension of the soul, and the hand is what puts forth or what puts into memorialization of what the mind is thinking. So whatever the mind thinks is transferred from the heart into the hand. So the hands, like I said, is the authority, or is supposed to put the authority into effect. So when you write anything by hand, the court says that has more authority than anything typed, because whatever type comes through an electronic medium, artificial intelligence. But whenever a man writes, remember, man is a person of God, the equivalent of God, or you exercise your God rights to into a sector to act.
Right.
So when you get that handwritten document, that's why it has two signatures and it has a seal. That becomes a sealed contract. That becomes a deed. That becomes like a deed of trust. So then you would take the document, you have that document recorded at the county. Once you record at the county, the law says once done that, it's recorded with everybody. California, Dallas, New York, Wisconsin. It is a matter of public record. So public record means anything that is public.
Right.
Are you feeling me?
I got you.
And you don't record, and you record on a separate UCC, which would be a UCC3, I believe, which is the addendum, or where you should have been carried over, and you can have it been attached to a private trust. See, I've been learning how to you can get to a what you call a 9A series EIN from the IRS, and that begins to make you foreign to the United States. And when you become foreign to the United States, you come up out of that tax code. Because believe it or not, having a zip code and all that puts you in the tax code, because the tax code is a government commercial creation. So I was learning name through your address, you are to be in the District of Columbia. That's why having your address in a certain format takes you out of that. Not only that, but not only that, dealing with the dealing with the IRS code, or dealing with the address. As long as when you get that 9A series number, what happens to the 9A series number is called a foreign EIN, and with a foreign EIN, the U.S. government only has jurisdiction over what's domestic. That's dealing with your social. The social is a domestic number, and that's what, of course, is coming in with the jurisdiction, coming in with all its authority, because it was an instrumentality, or it was a creation of the United States, or it's the 14th Amendment. It's what they would call a U.S. person. Now, to sit up there and get true ownership of the U.S. person, you have to sit up there and have that name recorded at the county, or have it registered at the county as being private property. And what people don't realize, the county is the first level of notification, declaration, so on and so forth, and everything must be done by affidavit. And if you can always have at least two witnesses, that affidavit has even more power. But even not, anything signed by a notary is a public record.
Right.
So like I said, I just been maneuvering on like a different level, and I'm learning about that private trust. Because when you get that private trust, that's where you can take anything that belongs to that public entity, and you can transfer it through the UCC to the private estate. The private estate becomes a holding company. It becomes foreign. It becomes unalienable. You can't do no eminent domain. You can't levy. You can't tax. Because the IRS code says plain as day, anything that's foreign to the U.S., you can't do that. So by learning how to read that IRS code, that's when I learned, see, that's how the rich get rich, because they're in that IRS code. And I was also learning, something, if people sit up there and go back a peep game, you might want to sit back and check you 150 cents. Because remember, 50 filed a bankruptcy. Remember?
Right.
But if you sit up there and look, he still got, see, people don't even realize what also took place during this creation of that document was they created what they were calling a state agency. So that state agency is part of the bankrupt United States. So you can do a bankruptcy action and submit that certificate of live birth into the case, because it can be put into a court case that will take you out of the public, put you into the private, whatever debt they say that you owe, pay those debts off, and they must return to you the remainder.
Right.
Or put the remainder to, what happens is the certificate of live birth is evidence of securities. The securities must be converted into cash.
Right.
That's where it gets monetized. And see, that's where y'all was getting those refund checks. Those are overpayment of equity checks. That's what those are. And see, if you have the private trust fund, you get your private bank account, and you can take those and have them deposited, and you can actually up there and convert those back into cash, and you can spend them. So see, my nigga, y'all on your level, I'm on my level. That's why I say we can sit down and exchange info and sit up there and really get popped. Because see, what I got, and I could up there and get to your people, man, they could up there and protect their kids, their wives, their moms, because by having that certificate authenticated, you can come in and you can sit up there like I wrote to the White House, I wrote to the Attorney General, I wrote to the FBI, I wrote to the mayor, to the governor of my state, to let them know. As I realized, because we're coming to find out, certificate of live birth, the reason why it's a financial asset is because somehow, some way, what I have not found is someone stood up there and purchased bonds for you, and I believe it's the county finance officer. That's why I'm backing it up, because I'm believing there's accounts that's the reserve, and I believe there's accounts that's the county. This is the theory. It's the theory, because the security is issued, it says it's issued from your state. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, who actually funded, who was the original funder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the level I'm on, and I believe you're on that same level. How was it funded? You know what I'm saying? That's the key. Trying to sit up and figure out who was funded by, who was funded by. Plus, through the bankruptcy, it's not going to tell you who actually funded it, but it was up there, like I said, it will pull those assets up out of there. But by getting up on that, do not detain us, what it was called, that's what's up there and protects your folks. Like you said, they're getting shot down left and right, males and females and children. So now, the main thing that's been focused on is protection, and even you, Moneyboy. But like I say, having that protection, that prevents any laws coming to your crib. That prevents any law. That prevents disrespect of children. That prevents, you know what I'm saying, y'all riding or whatever. The law just putting y'all over any type of way. It cuts that out. I done had a lawman come and tell me to my face. I gave him my ID. Tell me I had 4 warrants active to my face. My ID told me I have to, you know why? Because it's in that computer. The feds told him, don't grab that car. If he had no crime when somebody gets hurt, all that administrative court stuff is out the window, because it violates what? The Constitution.
Right.
You feel me? Okay,
we're going to hook up, man. That was some vital information right there, brother.
Yeah, straight up. And like I say, I'm from the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? 316.
Okay. So you in Detroit?
No, my hometown is Kansas, but I'm down here. I'm in H-Town right now. I'm in Texas. That's why I said, when you ever see knowledge, that's me.
Okay. Okay, you got my number. Man, I want you to call me about 9 o'clock if you can.
All right, that's what's up.
Okay, we're gonna be on like a three-way call, maybe a 4-way call.
All right, that's cool.
Okay, I just want to give you the heads up, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, man, that was some good information, man. Yeah, man, that's what's up, because you know we got a lot of people that's in the movement that's, you know, they got little cases and stuff that they's going through a little probation, so all that'll help.
Exactly. And so, because and another thing, if any of y'all can get a chance, you want to Google this cat named Patrick Devine. You'll Google Patrick Devine, UCC, or Patrick Devine birth certificate. You're also going to look up Gene Keating. You want to search Jonah Bay. And these are people that I've been following, and that was giving me information that was helping me out to look there and realize what was going on. Because Gene Keating, he'll teach you, he'll take you into security. He's going to take you deep into it. I mean, he's going to take you deep into it. He's going to teach you about securities and UCC 8 and UCC 9, because certificate of live birth is governed by UCC 8 and UCC 9, and I believe UCC 3 as well, because it becomes a negotiable instrument in certain situations. So that's why I say I just been following these cats. Like I think just get like some deep background info. But when you begin to realize that that document has so many different powers, once authenticated, you can use that document to discharge or to, they say, to pay off student loans, light bills, phone bill, gas bill, electric bill. My bad. Insurance, car notes. That's why I say what they're doing by getting to the TDA accounts, they'll find out where they're figuring out how to get into the lesson bank. But if they can't figure it out, they got to get the appropriate IRS form. Like you said, they got to get the red copies. Why? Because those are private. That's why. The ones you print offline are public. The ones you get from the IRS themselves, because the IRS is already it's covered by the Department of the Treasury. but hold on, but Joe, Moneyboy, check this out, my nigga. I'm gonna take you even deeper. Guess who runs the Treasury, my nigga?
Huh?
The Bureau. Guess who's the one who actually is regulating the debt, regulating the money, and really runs the Treasury? It's called the Bureau of the Public, my nigga. I've been in there. I got emails from them. They messed around and emailed me and let a nigga like me. Okay, so the Bureau of the Public Debt, they're the ones that sit up here and that cash out these securities. They're the ones that do the auctions. The Bureau of the Public Debt, they own Treasury Direct.
Right.
So that's why some of the forms you see, it says Bureau of the Fiscal Service, and there's some. That's why you see a lot of them say Bureau of the Fiscal Service. Yeah, that's who runs the Treasury.
Exactly.
I'm like, you see? I'm like, so okay. So that's what this is. It's a savings bonds, but it's also a Treasury marketable security. Some of my Treasury bills, some of my Treasury notes. See, I got that through Fidelity. Learning about how to sit up and look up the CUSIP numbers. And when you get that CUSIP, it takes you into that portfolio, and you see the billions that's up there being that's being auctioned off, that's being set up there done behind closed doors, linked to your documents.
Check this out. So, what about the fictitious name?
Now, that's the fictitious name. That's the equivalent. You go to the county and you get what's called a DBA, or an assumed name. But see, your first, middle, and last name, that is the legal name. Your real name, the true name, is the last name, comma, first, middle.
Right.
You feel me? Because if you want to get deep into it, you got to sit there and go back to days and times. You got to sit there and look up what's called going to Black's Law and look up cognomen, and it tells you the actual how the name is broken down. You had a praenomen. The praenomen was what they call the first name or the true name. That's just your first name by itself.
Right.
Or someone can say it would be your family's last name. Because it tells what house you come from. Like mine is Wilson. I would come from the house of Wilson. Or you understand where house you would come from. And it would tell you that the Noniran was known as the added name, or like the additional name. And then the cognomen was the last name or the surname. The surname was the family name. It tells what bloodline or it tells what lineage that you descended from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why when they was talking about there's power in the name, that's what the Bible was talking about. The power is in your name. How is your name being used? Your name one way is been spoken as one who was under, you know what I'm saying, who was under bondage. But your name spoken in another manner is one who was over the one in bondage.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's what's up. So
yeah.
So you said the fictitious name is basically like what?
The first and the last name. See, what I'm understanding when I believe when the parent was doing the actual true record, they was putting your last name, comma, first middle. And I know that when I went down to Moneyboy County's office to get my name registered, at the time I didn't even know about the last name, first name, middle. But I knew for a fact that, you know what I'm saying, it had to play to an extent. So I went down and did the form and not even thinking, I signed my name first and the last. But when they gave me my actual paperwork back, it said that the first and the last was owned, or it was registered to the last, comma, first middle. And I've seen that. And I say, there's a switch in the word. One name in one way is an assumed name, or it's a business name, or it's a trade name. Basically, it's a trade name.
Right.
But the name in another format is the registered owner of the trade name.
Right.
So that's when I realized. So that's when I realized that's why I had a court case when I went up in there and said my last name, my first middle. The judge almost had a heart attack. Because at that time, I really stood up there and brought the public and the private together and kind of collapsed their trust.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Because I had put onto the court record the authenticated statement of live birth, so they couldn't question who I was.
Made that bond negligent, so they couldn't even do shit.
No, look at had got the court case on the court record without even paying for the court case. Because if you read the Constitution, no person can be denied the right to face an accuser or whatever in the court of law. And the law says under 18 U.S.C. 242, which is called deprivation of the rights under the color of law, the federal government said no one in any state can use any law to deprive anyone of any right guaranteed by any law or any regulation or any constitution. If they do, that's a felony.
Right.
So, like I say, I just use their own paperwork. That's why I say everyone should get a certified copy of their state constitution and of the U.S. Constitution, because that is their contract, that is their obligations. So, and they cannot bind them, they cannot break them. I got the counter recorded there. I got his bond in my hand right now. He don't know what to do. He didn't know I did my homework. Matter of fact, I made the county attorney request a copy of this bond from Secretary of State to make sure I had all the right paperwork, because he violated my rights. I'm trying to report a non-UCC. He don't tell me no. My nigga, he told the wrong nigga no. Right. Now that bond worth $500,000, I got it in my hand right now. I'm figuring out how to cash in on this bitch.
Right.
So you get a copy of that Constitution, get that bad boy, get a copy of it. As a matter of fact, you can actually get that paperwork and have to start into an old court case. And it's by law, any court document is a public record. District court, county court, so it must be a court of record. So county court, district court, appeals court, child support court. Any court case where they sit up there and have a court reporter where that information is recorded from once they come in and view us up there and examine. You can start pick up into that case, it becomes a matter of public record. And then you can mail information to certain officials, and they become noticed. So there's so many cracks in the sidewalk. Like our Creator said, He would never leave us nor forsake us. But at the exact same time, we got to pick up our cross, and we got to walk that walk at whatever cost. Like you said, if you want to get that victory, you got to fight that fight through to the end. And see what's happening. We getting to the end. That's why it's a little bit hard because we right there. Like you said, we banging on that door. We right there. they see us outside, my nigga. Yeah. They see us outside. You feel me?
Yeah.
The thing is, they got to open that door. That's why people that's up there getting success, they open the doors little by little. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So those that's not getting it set, like you say, if you ain't getting it, that just means to keep going harder. Figure out what you're not doing right, and get up in there. And like I say, even our tribe, like I say, I've been doing more of the research. But now I'm thinking, okay, let's put a pause button down and start trying some of these methods and figure out, you know what I'm saying, because everything is a formula. What's the formula for my situation?
Right. So we need to get together so we can put together a formula so we can give. Wait a minute. My question to you is, how do you think we should hit the door? 20 to 50 people or one at a time?
What I would say, before you slip in at the door, I would say let's get uniformity with the paperwork. You see what I'm saying? And strength in numbers. And remember, what I'm realizing, paperwork is what got you in. Like you were saying, paperwork, that's going to get you out. Whoever don't have the certificate of live birth authenticated, that's first thing, that's ground one, that's phase one. TDA accounts is cool, but you want to get that document. Why? Because once you get that document, you want to turn around and you want to record that document. You want to take that document and have copies sent to the appropriate people to let them know who you are. Now you begin to sit up there, and if they didn't know you, they're going to begin to know you now, because you got to remember, the Constitution is a trust document. So every government official is a trustee. So when you're working from the private, guess who works for you from the private? Those trustees.
Those trustees, yeah.
So now, from the public, the trustees have every right to block you out. Why? Because you come in as a U.S. person. The U.S. person has no access to the state, because why? It is foreign. The private estate. So anything private is what they call foreign. So we have to come into with that paperwork, get that document authenticated. That's what happens. See, what happens is they can't argue with it. Why? Because the one Secretary of State in Washington, once you get done in your Secretary in your state, and then in Washington, D.C., they can't argue with that because they co-signed it.
Right.
So what happens, and what I learned, what I've kind of put together, the reason why they give you full faith and credit on that document is because if you read House Resolution 807, which is the Full Faith and Credit Act, it will tell you that the Treasurer or Secretary of the Treasury is required to pay principal and interest. If you go into Investopedia and look up government obligations or federal obligations, it will tell you any kind of loan or anything that is backed by the full credit of it. So you know that that's the certificate of live birth is an investment. Now you are a shareholder or a stockholder in the federal government. I believe you have savings bonds, or what I got from the Treasury was that it was a savings bond / Treasury marketable security. And when I sent them, my nigga, I had to get a TDA, that form, that 5443 form.
Yeah.
You got to get that. You got to get that green stamp. I got that stamp from my financial institute. And then when I did, my nigga, not even thinking, I was just sending it to them as a means of verification. I sent them a copy of the certificate of live birth. When they emailed me, they told me, "Thank you for, we received your Treasury, your savings bond and Treasury securities information." I said, "What?" I said, "Still an account authorization form." But what happened is I got a nugget. So that's what that document is evidence of. Also, see, that document has so many different things on so many different levels once you get it authenticated. But if you look up Federal Rule 902, just having that seal from the county, Federal Rule 902 says any document that has a government seal and is signed by the appropriate government officer that's authorized to have that seal, they said it is self-authenticating. It cannot be questioned. It can't even be challenged.
Right.
Because the government cannot question the government. That is a house divided, and the house divided cannot stand.
Exactly. Okay, what about the secured party creditor?
You do not want to sit up there and go nowhere near that. Because what happens is, you don't realize you're not a secured party creditor. You are a registered owner, and you are a stockholder.
So we don't want to go that route?
You don't want to go SPC route. Because what's happening is, secured party creditors, you're not going to see the thing you for tax because all the thing you do is primary discharge.
Right.
Your main goal is to get, like, say, there's an account. If there's an account, why does it want to be a creditor? I don't want to be a creditor. I want to be the account owner coming in to close the account or to access my account to use the account for my private means and private affairs. So we want to come in as the registered owner, and you want to come in and see. That's why anyone doing a UCC, you must do a non-UCC, because the non-UCC is what's governed by the UCC 9, and that's what gives you what they call a perfected security interest. By doing a non-UCC, you're not putting an actual lien on anything. You're giving a lawful claim that you have a secure interest in the assets that are linked, associated, registered, or whatever with this instrument. That's what the non-UCC is. That's why it's good to sit up there if you want to sit up there and get with John the Bay. So the Bay will go into that non-UCC, and he'll sit up there and break down how that non-UCC sits up there and gives you a secure interest to where you're not filing an actual lien on any instrument, because you can't file it because it's not yours, but you can perfect, or you can sit up there and put a public notice that you have first entitlement right to the assets. So that means if you did file a bankruptcy by doing that non-UCC and have it on the public record, guess who gets paid first?
You.
You got to be a secured party creditor. You are the registered account owner. You are the heir to that estate that is held in trust.
Right.
You feel me? That's what I say. I've been in this for 4 years, my nigga. I got on this pathway to an aggravated assault charge. You know what I'm saying? I had bills and kids in my apartment complex. So they want to sit up there and get a pistol play. But I told about that bitch, that big daddy.
Right.
But when I got out, I'm like, man, I'm like, something's not right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in that path. Like the Bible say, man, it's greater to say. If you seek, you shall find. See, all of us sitting here, we're on that pathway to that real truth. That's why we all linked up together right now. And think about it. This world has millions and millions of people, but it's only so many of us that's actually woke.
Right.
Because some of us, we all got that. We are at that point, man. What is the truth to what's going on? So now we all can step there and connect, because great minds think alike. Like you say, energy goes where energy flows. That's all this is. We're all slipping that desire to know that energy is starting to flow out of us, and it's bringing everybody together, because we're starting to realize there must be some type of change. And it must, and we actually come together and get the proper know-how and deal with this from the private. Because what goes down, this kind of gets biblical, because the Bible talks about what? About bond and service. So that's what we really are. We're bond and service. But the Bible says you can redeem us. To redeem us, you got to claim. You got to know yourself. You got to claim yourself. That's what that mark of that beast is. You are marked as a beast. You are marked as property. So that's what it is. Yeah, so when they talk about human resource, a resource is something that you sit up there and use for different means or whatever. So human beings are a resource to the corporation. So what we don't even realize is, technically speaking, if you want to get real deep, here we are in Pharaoh's house, like we're in Egypt, we're in Pharaoh's house. We got all these government IDs and things, so we have Caesar's stuff. That's why he has authority, he has things, so he has jurisdiction. So we're not really honoring God. We're in another nigga's house trying to sit up there and ask God to bless us. And God looking like, my nigga, that's like cheating, trespassing.
Right.
You ask me to bless you. You're in a corporation nation. Remember, corporation is what? It's a dead thing. God is God for the living. So we've been walking around in the capacity of a dead thing, trying to play to a living God. Nigga, we tripping. Right. And then here we are in church, and you do your homework about what the dollar bill is. It's a policy. It's also a contract. And if you look at between the Federal Reserve, the United States, and the U.S. Treasury, because you simply look up USC 18 USC 8, it will tell you that your car note, your car coupons, your mortgage, all that stuff, the federal government pay all that stuff. Right. When it comes to Roth House, my nigga, you're only required to put 10% down. I believe it was the act of 1985 that was put in place by Reagan, the single house, single family home act or something like that. The federal government is required to pay all of your public obligations.
Gotcha.
So that's why when you get that document authenticated and they give you the credit, that goes back to 1933. When they took the gold, they had everything was prepaid. So really, everything now is a tax. When we sit up there, what I've been reading, we even doing that wrong. We're supposed to sit up there taking that stuff, keeping the receipts, doing the appropriate tax form, and getting that money back. So I'm like, dang, so we trip on really different levels because everything, the government's doing that job right. We got to sit there and really figure out what we're doing wrong.
Right.
Real. And to sit up there, like we say, we want to sit up there and come up out of Pharaoh's house, got to first recognize and realize that we are actually dead to what the truth is. We got to sit up there and start pursuing this matter. We got to start pursuing that light. You got to pick up their cross and start making that walk. And they got to realize there's going to be some resistance. But the thing is, that's where it's strength in numbers. And that's what I learned, getting that protection by doing those notices. Once you get everything authenticated, that's one level to sit up there and avoid. When you sit up there and you can avoid any kind of like attacking or whatever. Once you sit up and get that information, they got to back up off for you because they realize, one, that document shows that you're an American. That's one thing I also realized. It shows that you were born here on the land, so that admiralty, it can be challenged. Because this information took place on earth, on ground, soil. So Constitution is the law of the what? Of the land. So this shows I was born up on the land. I am a part of the land, so I exercise and I reserve all rights. Like you say, I know my rights. I reserve all rights upon the land, which this document evidences that this act took place up on the land. Right. Because you cannot locate that information on that document. Show me the information in the water. Take me to the water and somebody to the place we can't because it's on land. So what is the supreme document? The Constitution. It's that simple. Right. It's so simple that people be like, huh? I'm like, if you take time out and just read, you be like, dang, how did I miss that? It's because we weren't on that path in the beginning. Right. Yeah. But now, like I said, now we connecting. So like Callie was saying, I gotta get with Callie because he's doing that. Like I said, he's going back in time about know who you are, know about stuff. That's really important because a lot of us, we gotta sit up there and figure out what nation of people that we descend from because we come from tribes. I don't care if you Hispanic and that word black, they gotta cut that word out. If they ever get a chance, they need to sit up there and Google the origin of the word black. The word black means pale without color. Look it up. Do your homework. It came out of Germany, out of Europe. Right. The origin of the word means without color. It means pale. So people saying that they black, this and black. You got to quit giving yourself a specific title and start learning who you are. Because a lot of people are Moors, because anybody with a birth certificate, you're Native American. You got to sit up there, and it don't mean Indian, because the word Indian comes from a different place, but you're Native American because your origins are traced back to the soils of the region known as Texas or as Miami, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that you're American. So by showing that you're an American, you can enforce rights as an American, but we got to realize how to get those rights enforced to the privates, and that's through those notices under notary seal. Always in the notary seal. But the notary has statewide jurisdiction in any state, going back to Article 4, Section 1, full effective credit of every act. Anything under notary seal becomes a public act, because the notary must sit up there and record that and have you sign it. It becomes a public record. All it's power.
Right.
Like you say, at 9 o'clock, my niggas, you be back.
Okay.
Shout out to y'all. Like I say, I'll be online watching y'all from the shadows or whatever. But y'all do y'all thing, you know what I'm saying? One day at a time. Peace by peace.
Appreciate that, bro.
Anytime, homie.
The family appreciate it too, man. We appreciate all the energy that you put into what you just gave us. You know what I'm saying? Because you know we was finna go. See, this how God worked though, because we was finna go in a different direction, but by listening, so now we got to come to the table, and then now we got to put our heads back together and see like what we finna do now.
Believe it or not, what y'all doing really is kind of like the path that y'all on. Only thing I'm doing is just bringing, you know, something. Here's some different information. Here's a level of how to protect yourself, and you can sit up there and take information and sit up there and you can get your account. You can pay your bills off, but you got to sit up there and get the proper tax forms, 99A, 99A, and 96. And you got to sit up there and it's good to go to, like you said, if you can order you some private checks, you can. But what you want to do, if you're going to order any kind of checks, when it asks for your bank information, this is what I've learned. The Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve accounts, I believe, are held by the Treasury. So you can sit up there and create your own private checks, and you can have the Treasury as the actual bank, because believe it or not, anybody with a routing number is a bank. The Treasury has a routing, so it's a bank. Point period blank. Because it does what? Transactions. Wire transfers, and it does ACH. It's the bank. So you can use the actual, and as a matter of fact, I've seen this done, and seen, as a matter of fact, a $6 million bill paid off to the trial. I've seen it done. So I'm telling you what can actually be done. Matter of fact, you can go to donor-Vimeo, Vimeo, and you can see the actual class where he's trying to and do the actual documents to and discharge debt. He's been doing it for the last 2 or 3 years. Got a house for $300,000 paid for.
You could just send me that, that round. Well, you could, or I'm gonna talk to you at 9, so we can get back on that at 9. I have some different people. I have a different group in the room, so they can pick up some of this. You know what I'm saying? Because we got people in the group on different levels, and this is vital information. This is what's up.
I feel you. I feel. That's my bad. I know where you're coming from.
No, you good. No, we appreciate this, man. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. We appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Reach one, teach one. That's the whole thing. Reach one, teach one.
Anytime. Like I said, some of the few outside of you, I've only seen Gene Keating and Jonah. But like I say, these are people that's been doing it, and they show results. So that's why I say I only want to set that link with others getting the actual results based on the studying and actually, you know what I'm saying, uncovering, look what I found. You know what I'm saying? And all we're doing is just bringing in different parts of the puzzle. That's all we're doing.
Yep. Different parts of the puzzle. Yep. Man, that was wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna hit you back. I'm gonna be waiting on what you was gonna say.
Yes, sir.
Like this right here. That's the reason. I want to talk to you about the secured party creditors. Did you ever get a chance? You want to Google Tony King, because Tony King is the man that was showing how to become a part of the DPC. And he was showing how to set up people said they said the law said they had to keep at least 1 penny in the account, but they could pull almost $1 million a day. So why sit up there and only be able to pull $2 million a year? You can sit up there and pull damn near $1 million a day. Not saying that you would, but you know what I'm saying? That's what you call that unfettered access.
Yes.
So my thing is like this right here.
Okay.
You feel me?
Okay. We gonna say that for the night. We gonna say no. You gonna get to give it, but we gonna give it at 9.
Yeah, I got you.
We gonna give it at 9. So if they want the ones gonna be here, they gonna be here. So we gonna get 9. We come back. We go. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it together. All right, dude. See you at 9. Hey, I got something for you, man.
What's up, man? What you got for me? What's going down?
Yes,
hey, man, you gotta show the whole. Hey, show the whole thing, man. Stop playing.
What's happening? The building.
Dude, man. Yeah.
I had something in the bag for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're not finna be waiting forever for this. You know, we finna get what we need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mic check.
1, 2, 1, 2.
All right.
Been working on, even Moneyboy didn't even know nothing about that. I've been talking with this brother, so this is what we gonna do for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Not just the money team. We gonna do this for everybody. Since everybody thinking like we something, it's for everybody, because once we get in, okay, what else can we do?
Yes.
Bombs, nuggets.
What else can we do? You know what I'm saying? You heard me? Feather 99.999 a day. What can you do? Feather.
Shout out Moneyboy. Shout out Moneyboy. Midwest.
Moneyboy in the building.
Platform with me. Shout out to Moneyboy in the building, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey,
shout out Pink Dolphin. You know what I'm saying? For the sweater, you dig? Got me feeling cozy.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Man, with the hoodie though.
I got one more nugget real quick. Look, one more nugget. Let me change my camera. Hold on.
Yeah.
One more nugget before we end this live, y'all.
What up with it?
Check this out. Look at this. Hold on. Don't forget to go get y'all t-shirts.
Yeah, don't forget.
Don't forget.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Let me see that.
Shout out.
Flip him over.
You see that
boy.
with Pete?
Official.
Don't forget to get y'all t-shirts. Y'all backdrops. Live and direct. Y'all see Mike K. Team MB. What it is.
About to get that black one. We got the t-shirts black and the white ones, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that.
It's like that.
That boy
I need
Money
to get
Boy.
that.
Hey,
I
y'all
want that
need
black
to take,
one. We're gonna have all colors. Everybody rocking them worldwide, baby.
Yes, sir. How the family, bro? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Everybody ain't got money to blow. So we gonna go like this. We gonna get everybody in, and we gonna do what we gotta do. And Team MB, we can do this for the people. Everybody. So you know what to do. Join the movement.
Hey, Jasmine, come here.
Come on through. Damn. Whole thing. Join the movement. Come on through. Unfettered access. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying. Moneyboy Filmz Midwest in the building, y'all.